all that together, working on it. But yeah, we officially live. So we are officially live on the Social Experiment Show. Um, this is February 1st. You know, it's Black History Month. It's still some fine tuning to go, but I'm glad to be able to open up with Mr. Creanu Jennings. You know, I'm
One and
getting the
only.
Facebook. There you go, the one and only. But you know, it's good to be here. You know what I mean? It's good to be able to have this conversation with you. It has been a while since I've ran an episode on the Social Experiment. I think my last episode might have been end of November, maybe into December. You know what I mean? And I had some fine tuning to do and some working on myself and stuff. But I remember reaching out to you, as a matter of fact, and you know, you was going to be one of my guests. You might have been like the last guest that I was supposed to have on here before things start happening in my life. So you know, I'm glad that you were still available.
No, that was a mutual thing too, because it was like we just couldn't get the schedule to correlate.
I understand, but I appreciate you being available. You know what I mean? I appreciate you being open to come on the show. You know what I mean? Like it's a social experiment show. I have not ran an episode in a while. It's Black History Month, and like I'm kind of like I explained a little bit going live earlier about what Black history meant to me and how I would like to see it moving forward. So I'm gonna kind of get your take on that. And we're just gonna talk about different things. You know, like it's cool. An unscripted conversation. You know, you asked me a little bit, but you know everything is cool. So like first and foremost, every guest that I have on here, I asked them like what made you accept the invitation to be able to like to come on the show to have this conversation with me.
So initially, over at the bank I'm at right now, there was a client who would always come in and she would always be like, "You two should get together." Miss Lynette, she kept saying, "You two need to get together. You like-minded. You really need to talk to him. I feel like it'd be a good conversation." So initially, I was like, "Okay, I got to run into him and meet him." I think we've seen each other in past and stuff throughout the years, but when I seen you at the Chambers event down at the Bayfront and we was talking, I'm like, "Oh yeah, he's solid. He definitely, he knows something I don't know." So I was real curious too, and everything else everybody said about you was like, just giving me the opportunity to get on here was nice.
Okay, that's what's up. So, God, that's crazy. You sum that up. But here's what's crazy. Like, it's like so. I remember like a while ago. I don't want to date myself, but I remember going back to the gym early in the morning. I used to see your mom in them in there. You know, I said see you in there. And I used to be like,
"Oh yeah," when I used to work out in the morning.
They got this dude up early. You was a kid at that time. You know what I mean? Like this little dude in here getting up early, getting to the grind.
So that's when I used to work out every day. That was a long. I was like 14, 15 at the time. Yeah, I don't work out like that no more.
I'm saying though, you was young and like I knew at that point in time, like, cause I played some football or whatever, waking up early. Like how much discipline that took, and it's to see like somebody like you in there, and then it was times where you was in there by yourself and you wasn't with your mom. Like, oh, he taking this serious, So like, and then like I start seeing you around. Like I didn't know what you had going on, but I always see you. You dress sharp. You know what I mean? Like you make sure you on your P's and Q's. So I'm like, this is a sharp young dude. I wonder what he got going on. And then like you said, like Lynette, she was like, listen, I was at the bank. I met this young guy. You need to talk to him. You need to have a conversation with him. Like y'all can help each other. She like he's sharp. He can. And what's crazy is she like he can teach you something. You know what I mean? Because we was having different conversations about real estate, and like when it came to some money questions and some things, she was like, "There's certain things that he was speaking about." So I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And then I ran into you, like you said, at the Erie Bank event, and I'm like, "Okay." Like I ran into you here after somebody mentioned
it was meant. We kept running into each other.
And then I see like when Curtis had the meeting, when over there he had the meeting, and everybody was introducing themselves and giving an introduction. Like. My introduction can be either be short or be long, but like the way you gave yours and like you said some things about like the community and you want to like people to learn different things and explore different things and tap into different things. So like I'm like, that's cool. I hear you saying that. I'm like, I gotta reach out to you. You know what I mean? So I reached out to you and I'm like, I gotta get you on the show. And like I said, we here now, so like I appreciate you coming on the show, you know what I mean? And then like even like some of the things that we about to learn about you today, I'm gonna tell you already, like I admire them about you already just from things that I've seen with my own eyes. So, like, when it comes to that, like, kind of tell me a little bit. If somebody were to just ask the question, like, who is Creanu? Like, how would that question be answered?
I actually just, something I was going through the process of doing, they just asked me a question like that. And I don't never really talk about myself too much like that, other than saying like a couple words, like I'm solid or something. But I guess somebody run into me to ask who I am. I'm genuine, authentic. I mean, everybody who know me know I'm real as they get. Like, I don't fake the funk. I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm not finna get on here and portray something, but real supportive of everybody, whatever they got going on. If I love you, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just how I was raised. But a hustler at heart. I always had some type of job. So anybody who know me, they be like, who is he? He's always working. He's always on the go. I do move a mile a minute sometimes, but I like to think that's what they would think of me, or what they would say about me. I don't think nobody say nothing too crazy.
Yeah, right. So then so what's interesting is like and that's one of the reasons why I like having this this conversation, and I like running these shows, is because like when you ask a person that question, you get somebody the opportunity to kind of like brag about what they have going on or who they are. Like a lot of people keep it short and a lot of people keep it modest, but like what I want to see, or like when I ask you that question, that's why it's good to have this interview, is like if we kind of like run that down, run that back, it's like, okay, you're a young man. First off, let me like, how old are you? Let me ask you that. Like, how old are you?
So I'm 22.
Okay, so you're 22 years old, right? So in your 22 years of living, like some of the things that like took place in your life or molded you or created you to be the man, first and foremost, let me tell you, like, you know, you a young man, and for me to see you and acknowledge you, like, and want to have a conversation with you, like, that means something to me. Hopefully it means something to you, and we can have a good conversation. But it's some things that's going on about you, or some things that you have going on, that we kind of need to slow that down. And you said like I've always been a hustler. So how old were you when you first started like working?
When I got my first like job, I was landscaping with my uncles and stuff. But before that, my mom would even tell you like I would make the little CDs and stuff like that.
Okay.
Put it together, a little playlist, sell it to her friends or anybody I knew like that. Or then I had a habit like she'll buy me some toys, a game, whatever. I beat the game, play with the toys, I sell whatever that is. So I always had like a routine of doing something like that. So it got to the point where she's like, you need to stop.
Right.
So but I got my first job doing the landscaping, but I always had like different odd-end jobs, because after I had that, when I got to prep, when I was like 14, 15, I got a job working for some attorneys as like their runner, and I really learned a lot when I was down there. They invited me to a few of the bar associations.
Slow down. When you say the runner, you use a runner for some lawyers. Help me understand. What do you mean when you say that?
So I basically, to dumb it down a little bit, or not even dumb it down, just simplify it, because I would say runner because that's how they would just address us, as like, oh, you're the runner. You would basically go to the different attorneys' offices or the courthouse, file the documents that like the prothonotary and things like that, and register wills and stuff, depending on what they had going on.
Okay.
So just basically going to and from. And mind you, now this is getting out of class or getting out of school like 2:55, 3 at prep.
Mm-hmm.
You only got like an hour and a half before the courthouse closed. So you're running over there, then you run into the courthouse, then you run into the federal courthouse, or you run into another law office or to the bank to make the deposits and things like that.
Okay.
So that really put me into a position to where I ran into a gentleman who was teaching me about like title searching. Okay. That's really how I learned a little bit more about the nitty gritty as far as what people need to do when they buy a house. And I had the opportunity, but I didn't take it to work with him. And he was showing me how for every title search, because that was his thing. He had a nice clientele he's going to pass off to me. He was making 150 to 200 on like the easier ones. He would do title searches. So you had to date it back a certain amount of years. So I passed on an opportunity and ended up getting a job at Best Buy, but I stayed there for a while.
Okay.
Then it turned into everything else.
All right. So boom, we now I'm gonna slow it down again a little bit and rewind it. So
I could be talking fast. I know I talk fast.
Cool. Listen, I talk fast too. It ain't that I don't understand you. You ain't talking too fast. You're telling your story too fast. Right. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna ask you.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
And pick it apart a little bit, because like, so at the age of like when you saying that, like as far as being young, like I remember walking to the penny candy store, me and my sister, and coming back home and rebagging the penny candy and selling it to kids who live in the neighborhood, selling seeds. Like very similar to you when you talk about like the hustle and you talk about the ambition. Like I can hear it in your voice. I can literally see it in your face. Like as you talking about it, like you lighten up, and that's good. You know what I mean? So then like
it was fun back then. It was fun doing that and stuff like that. It was fun.
Then when you say like you doing this running, like was it stuff that you got to learn from doing it, or was you literally just running papers? Like what type of person are you when it comes to like, are you asking like what's this, what's that, or did you have an opportunity to read stuff to where it's like I'm taking in some new information?
So naturally I'm a little curious. So depending on what it was, like some attorneys, I worked for 2 different firms, almost got a third one before I got my other job. But between the 2 different firms, there's about 8 attorneys. The one attorney, me and him, it was 2 of them, Mr. Yoakum and Mr. Nash. We had a good relationship. They would tell me anything I was curious about, something like that. That was the first time I would start getting like my own personal checks. So they would break down checks to me, or like some of the stuff I would look at. And that's why he would take me to the bar association anytime they had something, like any attorney usually in the area, they registered.
Wait, hold on. Not to keep cutting you off, but scoot that mic to you a little bit. Who are these gentlemen? When you say these names, because we gotta make sure we want to always make sure that we have to acknowledge the people who paved the way for you.
Oh, yeah, for
you know what I mean? Because and I want people to know that too and understand that as well. So it's like I don't want you to feel like I'm being rude or anything by like cutting you off. But, like,
no, anytime you think just address it.
Make sure we give people their flowers, because it's people who play roles in our lives, and then sometimes they don't always look like us. We also need to be mindful and acknowledge that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's people in our lives who are in our path for a reason. Like outside of a skin color, like I don't know what you believe in, you know what I mean? But God works in, so it's certain people who are placed in your life, and we have to recognize those people as well. So it was some gentleman who was able to drop some games with you at the age of 14 or 15, and you said their names were what?
Gary Nash and Joe Yoakum.
Okay,
So,
Gary Nash and Joe Yoakum. Okay, that's
yeah.
what's up. So we appreciate them for like the small piece of, and we don't give them too much credit. But
Yeah.
the
Oh,
small
actually, I would
pieces
add
of,
one
like,
on to that too. Now that you mentioned that, the gentleman that gave me the opportunity was from Prep. He handled like a lot of the student centers and stuff. He was the reason why I was able to stay there. He was helping out a lot as far as finding funding and stuff for me to go there.
Okay.
Tim Doherty, he's the one that gave me the opportunity. I think he's still at Prep, but
okay, that's what's up. Okay, so we got a couple different gentlemen who play a role in molded you. Okay, so now boom, we back to this. So you're looking at this paperwork, you're looking at this information. What are you seeing that's captivating your mind and making you feel like, yep, I need this, I need that?
So the timeline, so they'll tell me like, okay, well, this has to be dropped off today. Like these have to be in there today. No matter what you do, this has to go first. Or they'll be like, you have to go here first, file this here. And so I'll go to the like register of wills or pathonetary first, get this filed at one place. And then it was an order that you had to go to get certain documentation filed. So just learning those type of things. And sometimes I would ask like the secretaries questions because the secretaries, they know a lot of the game.
Right.
Sometimes people sidestep the secretaries and stuff like that, but they real tapped in. So just talking to them, I'm naturally curious. I think that's what got me this far because I'm always asking questions and I'm always, following up with people like, hey, what was this about? What was that about? So they really, that really sparked my interest as far as on the law side of things when I was learning a little bit. It was cool. It was an experience though.
Okay. So what was the most, like you said, so what was the most interesting piece of information that you obtained from the age of 14 to 15 that you feel like kind of took you right here to where you at right now? Like, what do you think stuck out to you the most? That was just like, keep going.
Like from that job or just in general?
From that job.
Oh, from that job? The title searching aspect, because that's not a job that people will know that you can have or like make a career out of. If you're good, like if you have a niche, like that was his niche, he would do strictly just title searching, and like everybody in the city would pretty much come to this guy. Mm-hmm. That really sparked my interest in understanding like you find your niche, you stick to your niche. He didn't do nothing else. He came in there, he worked there. What was it like he got so good to the point where he could work like 3 or 4 days out the week, knock them out for people, and then that was his thing. So that really taught me like there's other ways to make money other than just selling a house, buying a house, wholesaling a house. Like, so that was cool.
Okay. So you learning the game there, but then also I want to kind of like rewind a little bit too, because you said like I was working a landscaping job with my uncle. So I had a little landscaping company and I still got all my equipment and stuff. But like me and my son be out getting to it. So like, tell me a little bit about that too, like because I'm pretty sure that plays a role in at least the work ethic.
So the landscaping taught me a lot of it taught me a lot of good and bad. It taught me do's and don'ts, whether it be you the person running the show or as far as the clientele that you're going to deal with. It opened me up to people not paying when they need to pay.
Okay.
Or like they're trying to short you, whether because of who you are, because they feel like they know you. I learned business is business. You can't be trying to, cut corners with people when you owe somebody, you pay somebody.
Okay.
So that's a real big one. But yeah, waking up early, like I was already into the routine of waking up early. We start our day landscaping at like 5, 6 in the morning because you want to do it before it gets too hot out and then don't nobody want to work no more. Right, so it's me and my uncles would knock it out every couple of days and stuff. They had a nice little routine. They had one of the best equipment, but they made do with what they had. Yeah, so
I feel you there. Yeah. So then, so if it ain't too much information, like when you say, like people as far as the payment and stuff like that, like was it the customers or was it the?
So no, it was actually for me. It was the customers. My uncle's always like, so the thing with them was, which was funny, because my cousins even work for us too, and they can even vouch and say, when it comes to them, you get paid depending on how hard you work.
Okay.
So if you're working hard and you can obviously feel it and see it, like you don't want to cut all of this or you don't want to hedge all of this, obviously you're gonna get half, or if not, however much they feel like you need to get at that time.
Right.
So for me, I never had a problem getting money because I was always doing my part. I had the expectation if I knock this out early, I can jump on my bike when I'm done.
Right.
But my cousins sometimes they would feel like they're not getting paid as much as like you didn't do no work. You slept in the truck all day, or like you slept in the truck half of the day. But on the client side, people will not pay when they need to. Oh, well, can I pay 2 weeks from now? Oh, can I pay? So that's when I learned you have to get the proper documentation in order when you're doing those type of things, because people will try and cut corners to get out on you. And it was days my uncles and them, I'm prideful sometimes. So I feel like I'm better than that. So if I got to chase you down for my money, I'm going to just chalk it up because I'm not going to hunt you. Now, you owe me. I know you owe me. So we just going to let it be a wash. But it would be days that they would do that. And it really taught me, like, make sure you get your paperwork in order.
Okay. And then how old was you when you was doing this?
I did that from, what was that, like 12 to 14, 15? Because all of this changed when I got the job. Well, before I got the job at Best Buy and martial arts kind of changed as far as everything I had going on.
So now we got to go back to, and hopefully the relationship is still good. But like, as far as your uncles, like who are the gentlemen who put these pieces in your life?
Oh, For sure. My Uncle Molet Johnson and my Uncle Jimmy Dale Johnson. My Uncle Jimmy Dale is like my right hand.
Okay.
My Uncle Mo, he kind of crazy, but that's my guy. But my Uncle Dale, he really looked out for me like a lot of ways through my life and stuff like that. Even to this day, like I can talk to him about anything. So definitely my
Okay.
right hand.
Okay. So then yeah, and I'm glad we kind of talking about that. So like kind of take me to like what's the family like? What's your dynamic of your family as far as like you got siblings like you said your uncle, your cousins and stuff like that like
So my dynamic was so from to the age of 8, my grandmother was alive. Like so, she was like the matriarch of the family. Like she the one that kept us all together. I think I said that right, but she the one that kept us all together. So I'm the youngest grandchild out of all her grandkids. The
do you
oldest is
know do
like
you know
30,
you
40
you
something.
got to count?
I don't. Nah, that's a lot of us,
Is
but
it is it
it's she had 5 kids and then everybody just branched off. My mom only had one up until like a couple years ago. I got a little brother now, but I was the only child for majority of my life. So
okay?
I got a daughter, I got a little girl, she 2, my little brother 3. So the dynamics with them is more or less like siblings
Okay.
versus uncle and niece. So that's the dynamic now. But for me, it's really been my family, my father. He's been incarcerated since I was 4 months, but he plays an active role in my life. We talk every day. He actually called me in the middle of all of this. He called. You probably talk to him after this, but
Yeah.
yeah, like we talk every day. So me and him got a great relationship. That ain't never changed nothing. But I always been raised, I feel like, by my community. I can't never say I did a lot of this stuff on my own. Certain things I had to, but my community always looked out for me. They felt like I was veering off a little bit to dudes in the neighborhood. Even the females would step in and be like, hey, you doing too much. Or, this is your path. You already had this path. Just stick to that. So,
Okay. So it's a lot of different people who have an impression on your life.
oh, yeah, for sure. That's why I
Okay.
can never crash out.
So then I got a lot of questions from everything that you just said to me, and I need you to like I said, all of this is freestyle. Like I heard some stuff about you, but I didn't know, like as far as you saying, like your father's been incarcerated since you were 4 months,
Right.
and you say he plays an active role in your life.
Yeah.
Like when you say that, like I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you have a father who can do that. You know what I mean? It's literally good to look you in your face and know like the embodiment of your work and still know that there's an active dad in your life.
Oh, for sure.
Like, so take me through, like, when you say my dad has been active in my life my entire life and he's been incarcerated, like, what does that look like?
So for me, for my mother, so that's a real big ups to her too. Like she made sure we went down there for the visits. We answered the phone calls. We wrote the letters. We did the pictures and everything we needed to on our part. But he always had it like my dad's real stern. Like he's definitely one of them guys you would consider like alpha male. He runs the show for sure. This situation ain't changed nothing really on his part.
Okay.
But he always gave me game. He always, told me how it was. He's real raw and uncut. Like when he tell me something, he tell me the worst and the best way I can ever hear it. And then I always took heed to it. Like he never really did too much as far as talking down to me. He talked to me like it's as if it was man to man, even when I was a kid, because he always believed you'll understand this when you get older and it'll all just mesh out perfectly. But we talk every day. I go see him all the time. Like it's still that same routine and that same love. It ain't never changed nothing as far as me knowing him and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So then, like, when you say, like, okay, so he dropping gems on you and he giving you, like, how important do you think, like, your dad still be, even through his situation, like, how important was it for you in your life for your dad to still play an active role in your life?
Oh, it was real big. So for me and the expectation, like even my friends, even all of us growing up, whether they got, dads out here or not, even their dads out here, they don't talk to them and they don't really look out for them. So that's kind of norm. You see it out there. But for me, that never, until I got older, didn't click in my head like, oh, my dad's incarcerated because I talked to him all the time. I would see him all the time and stuff like that. So it didn't really resonate until I got older and seeing what active fathers actually looked like.
Okay.
So
wait, hold on. Wait. I have kids, a lot of kids, 8 kids, right?
Yeah.
So you don't understand how like disheartening that is for me to hear you say something like that. For you to say, I didn't know what an active dad was until I got older because your friends' dads weren't active.
Yeah. So we had like, when I sit back and think about my friends, like even the ones I grew up with, like they all knew their dads, but like some of their dads was like, and it would hurt them too. Like some of their dads really didn't care to talk to them a whole lot and stuff like that. So it was weird to see, like, we didn't have, like, it was really more so the strong women in our lives and strong females, obviously aunts and uncles and cousins, but
right.
The dads wasn't real impactful on a part of their lives. Like my aunt, her husband, my Uncle Dwight, he was real active in his kids' lives and stuff like that in all of our lives. So I would see that. But as far as like on a day-to-day basis, like me and all my friends I go to school with, wasn't really like that.
That's what's up, man. Like big shout out to your dad for, still being there, you know what I mean, and staying active and involved. So then like I can only imagine, like, because I worked in a prison for 7.5 years, you know what I mean? I understand, like, how much time they have in the study and stuff like that. So to have a dad active in your life and have access and all to that much information.
He's real big on education. So he was real big on he was real big on his two things for me was he wasn't really too pressed with me playing sports. He was really primarily focused on me doing martial arts and education. Those are his two things. So we would have conversations, like life conversations. He'd send me books like read this, read this, read this. You need to follow with this. He sent me Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was like 11, 12. No, I was like 12, 13. He sent me Rich Dad Poor Dad. I never read it. But when I circle back to it, I regret it. I wish I would have read it back then because I would have had way more money now.
Right.
It was just a mindset change for that book when I actually read that one. But he real big on that. So education is his thing.
What kind of books was your dad sending you? What was he encouraging you to read? And what have you read that you can rattle off?
So the number one he sent me was the Rich Dad Poor Dad. He sent me some few other ones. I should say I remember them, but I really don't. But we read along the lines of the same things as far as African American lineage and trying to date back. He's real big on history, and where we came from, understand how we got here. But for me, I got into the habit of reading like Robert Greene books, like 48 Laws of Power, the 50th Law, things like that. Those are like my type of books that I go to aside from my business ones. A book I read that got me into wanting to go into like corporate finance and stuff later down the road was Reginald F. Lewis's Watching White Guys Have All the Fun.
Yeah.
That's a real pivotal book as far as you want to talk about a real hustler, like a real go-getter. That was him. That was definitely him in the 80s for sure.
Right.
So those type of books I read. I read other ones. It was this other one I'm reading now. It's the Magician, the King, the Lover, and there was one other one. As far as the different male personalities and stuff, like that one right there, that's a good one I'm reading right now. You can really just see the different dynamics. When you read that book, you'll be able to look at people and be like, I can tell how you was raised, or I can tell why you act the way you act.
Right. And then again, like I gotta circle back to the dad thing. You know what I mean? To know that like he played that important role in that aspect. So then like you go into school, like what was your grades like as far as like what was your journey to and through prep, especially what you saying like you didn't get involved in sports. So like a lot of us feel like that's usually the pipeline to prep. So you got in there off of education, like
So I before that, between middle school and things like that, I kept getting into fights and kept getting in trouble and stuff inside of school, outside of school, just
get into fights.
Yeah, I was. It wasn't nothing. I never got into nothing crazy. Well, no, I never got into nothing too crazy, but I was just a little angry at the time. And then my mom found martial arts with Brian Arrington. This is what I really want to big up is Brian Arrington for TKO Erie. So you want to do martial arts, make sure that's where y'all going because that's where some real hitters is at.
Okay.
But me and him, he really was a real impact on that next step in my life as far as like my attitude and my perspective on things and seeing that there's more out there and like those male figures that are actually doing things and making differences in people's lives. So that really made a big difference in that transition of prep. And my dad was real adamant on making sure I go to my practices. Like I rode my bike over there. He would come get me however it went and then going to tournaments and stuff too, just seeing the different people and how everybody was doing it. So those made that big change when I got to prep. But my dad was really on me as far as making sure stuff was done. I always worked this stuff. So my grades and stuff was cool up until I got to prep. I struggled a little bit through, but I've always been doing a lot of different things. So I can never say it was from lack of trying. It was just from a lack of a lot of different things going on at that time. I dealt with a lot of different stuff throughout the years. So it was never easy.
It wasn't necessarily like a lack of intelligence. It was more of your schedule didn't mesh well.
Nah, if I look back on any year, it was always busy.
Okay. So when like, he just dumb here. It's more like this young man getting busy. You get into it. Like
that's all it was.
So much stuff going on.
And my teachers knew that too because they would tell my mom and stuff like that. It's not that he doesn't understand. It was just him doing it. Like I'd be sleeping in class. I'm tired from doing other stuff.
Right.
Like having so much going on.
Listen, I definitely can understand that. I can definitely understand that. So then we got. So you going through, you getting to the point to where you're leading up to high school, so then martial arts, like your father encouraged you to get into martial arts. What was like the thought process? What's the thought behind that?
So the discipline aspect, because my attitude, like I wasn't really, somebody say something, I'm going to say something back. It was just always me trying to follow up. I didn't know how to be the bigger person and step to the side. I always like, you come at me, I'm coming right back at you. Right. It was never really any in between with that. So that really helped with the discipline aspect. And my dad really wanted me to be able to look out for. I'm an only child, so I got cousins and stuff, but my whole family stressed, trying to be able to look out for yourself, stick up for yourself if you ever need to. So that was really the two big things, looking out for myself and a discipline aspect. My dad was really big on.
Okay, so then after you get to that point, did you do any college?
Yeah, I'm currently in college right now. So I finished out that prep. I stuck it out. No matter what anybody says, if you want to make a way, you can make a way, sports or not. But I stuck it out. I ended up going again, and that was a learning experience. But I ended up transferring to Barron. I'm currently at Barron, majoring in finance.
Okay. So when you say that was a major experience, what do you mean? Don't just open it and close that like that. Like what you mean?
So for college college is its own thing. If you don't have nobody that went to college before you that can give you all of the game as far as financial aid, the power dynamics in college, the networking, the advisors, if you don't have nobody to tell you all that, you really learning, trial and error, trial by fire. So for me, I learned a lot as far as financial aid and things like that. If I look back on it, I don't think Gannon would have been it for me financially, just looking at my student loans and things like that. And then every school is different. I think what they catered to, I wasn't the type of student that made that fit out as well at the time. Okay. Maybe now because I'm a little older, I'm a little more mature, but since I transferred over to Barron, resources and the relationships I made there, like night and day.
Okay. So then, like, I'm glad that you said that because, you know what I mean? I feel like that's something that is lacking in the Black community. And, like, I'm going to say, like, it's interesting. I'm glad that you, like I said, did say that because I just got a job at a university to where, like, even if it's not that university that people pick.
That's a big ups, too.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
A big ups.
But, like, now I feel like I can offer the opportunity of at least getting people thinking about it and understanding the process of going to college or even entertaining the mind of going to college because a lot of us don't know and understand. And a lot of people just want to, send their kids off to school and don't really understand what it entails or what that means. So, like, it's good that you say that.
Yeah, that's real talk. When I think back on it, like, now that's why anytime people go to college, I'm like, you should do this. You should talk to these people. You should emphasize and stress these type of things. Because even if you don't know, like, you in college already, or you know you want to do something, you don't know what, even if you go undecided for those first 2 years, just don't sleep the time off, like at least network and get to know people and get to know like your college and what they have to offer. Because there's a lot of resources and you don't know who be donating to the school or who comes to the school to talk unless you're around there actively.
Okay, my fault, but
no, you good.
But yeah, no, so like the reason I was getting to that is because like, I want you to kind of like take me through that as far as like you lacking the knowledge or the information. Like how important do you think it is for people who are interested in going to college to have that interaction with people who have went to college and went through the process, even if you're not talking graduated, but just understand the transition from high school to college. Like you said, you wish you would have had it. So how impactful, how important do you believe that is?
So it's very important. Looking back when I was at prep, so the expectation there is everybody goes to college afterwards, but everybody there, somebody in the family already went to college. So we didn't do it like prep at the time. They didn't do like a lot of college visits. ROTC did. We went to Slippery Rock and things like that, which was a big ups too because you get to experience that. Like, but I still consider myself a city kid. I still dealt with all the city kid problems just being at prep. There was no difference. So it's a real big ups because you need to know what's going on as far as that transition, like financially, how you're going to do it. If you stay on campus, what you need to do, and just navigating those things in life. Because once you go to college, there's no hand holding. You need to be able to wake up for class. You need to know when these assignments is due. These are the routines and habits you need to be able to create. But if nobody's telling you this is how it goes, when you get there, you just don't know. You don't know. Go pick your books up in 3 days, or it's too late, or if you drop this class too late, it's a late drop. Like they don't know those type of things until trial by fire.
Right. So then when you got up there and you got to, when you got there, you go over it again and you get all of this going on. Like, was there ever a time where you wanted to quit?
Yeah, not necessarily quit. I just had somebody tell me either quit my job or quit college. And when they said that, because I don't want to say who, but when they said it, I just gave them a look like that's a little different. I was just telling her we need to make the situation work. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm not working as much, how can we make the classes work around? Because there's no way for me to do one without the other. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty much drop out of school or quit your job. So that right there was set the stone for me to be like, okay, let me step back and figure out what I need to do. But it was never as far as me quitting because I wanted to do supply chain. My uncle, he really inspired me to really want to go to college. Just seeing him, he's worked at a bunch of different companies like Nike and other places, but he was real big into the logistics aspect of things and the computer science side of things. So he made me want to go to college. He was my next step that kept me going.
Okay. Well, I got some more questions, but somebody just sent us a question. They said, can you ask him besides family, can you name a role model in the community? Somebody that you looked at? We're going to dive into that. We running down the bio. We're going to dive into some of them questions, but I'm definitely going to make sure to keep that one in there. But okay, so when you go there, you at the school and you realize and it's the transition, like, so did you ever you took some time off? Like,
yeah, I took a semester off. I took a semester off because I was trying to start a business.
Okay.
And then the gentleman at the SBDC let me know, like, you're not taking this serious enough. And I don't, now that I'm more mature, and even at that time, after martial arts, I really matured as far as being able to take constructive criticism.
Right.
He told me, you're not taking this serious. This is not really what you want to do. Pretty much, you're wasting your time.
Right.
So I ended up going right back to school because I was actually trying to open something up at the time.
Okay. So like I went to college, I graduated college, but I had to take a semester off. But I didn't take one off to start no business. So I mean, don't look at it as a bad thing. I got kicked out. You know what I mean? Like academic suspension to academic probation. But
I never got to that point. Surprisingly enough, I ain't never got to that point.
So then we talking about, you go from working at, you're doing the landscape, and then you get to Best Buy, and then you saying you get into the bank world.
Yeah. So
what's your job title at the bank?
I'm a personal banker, and I'm in the process of becoming a licensed personal banker.
Okay. So when you say a personal banker, like what does that entail? What can you do? What do you do?
So actually, I'm a big ups the guy who got me in there, Nathan Suschek. He was over at Best Buy, but he got his transition over into banking first, and he made sure to follow up with me and another guy I know to get us in there. So he helped me get that opportunity. So I really appreciate that.
Okay.
But so personal banker entails you come in, you're looking for a loan, checking and savings account, you want to do a CD, even if you want to do investments, I can point you in the right direction as far as who to talk to.
Okay.
Just your whole financial spectrum as far as on the personal side of things, I talk to you about it.
Okay.
So if you're curious about anything, disputes, fraud, you name it.
So then when you hop into that world, like outside of that, like you strike me as the type of person who takes advantage of opportunities and who hops into having conversations. And like, so when you got involved in that, like what else are you learning that doesn't come with the job that they hired you to do?
The professional and the corporate dynamics as far as how big business works and how people work, and the power dynamics. Because the power dynamics at Best Buy ain't really nothing. A situation happens, something you disagree with, everybody go home, it's whatever. With the corporate side of things, you still have to be able to act professional and do what you need to, disagreements or not. So I learned a lot on the power dynamic side that wasn't necessarily attached to the job, but just learning about people. Like, it could be a lot of different people in their life experiences and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the big things. Temperament and stuff, like customer service, like you really learn how to really value and appreciate the people who can keep themselves under control when you're dealing with irate customers or irate situations. So those are the type of things that come with the job. And then just networking to meet a lot of different people.
Okay. So then when you hop into the bank world, when it comes to financial literacy and when it comes to you like understanding what's going on with money, like what have you done outside or on an extracurricular level that can kind of enhance your money skills since you're in the bank world now?
So learning as much as you can. Like, as far as for me, I read a lot. So it's a bunch of different business books. The owner of New Motors, she gave me a finance book. I forgot the name of it, but it's a real big one in regards to like learning about indexes and stuff like that. But for me, I tried my hand at the stock market as a novice at the time.
Okay.
Wasn't really my thing, but again, trial by fire.
Right.
You learn a lot of different things. YouTube is like the biggest thing for us. Like, so on a routine, I would get on YouTube, like Bigger Pockets was real big for me at the time when I was real big into like real estate or like learning. So those different aspects, some things I retained, and when I brought over to the job, when certain people would say stuff, I'd be like, oh, okay, I don't have to look this up.
Okay. So then now you say you're taking us through all of this, and you're saying you're 22 years old. So I know in your time frame when coming up and living in the city area, like there was a lot of crazy stuff going on. Like, how did you keep yourself out of some of the mess that was going on in the city through like as you was coming up?
So self-awareness at the end of the day, and then just the conversations my mom would have with me, my family would have with me, even my community. Like, a lot of people cared about me, so it would be hard for me to like just crash out because there's a lot of people trying to navigate and make sure I didn't crash out. So I thank God for them. But for me, it was just, you could kind of see, always had a little bit of foresight. I can see how certain things is going to go before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always helped keep me, out of certain situations, as far as, and not even saying hanging around certain people, is just hanging around those people at the wrong times. You can be related to people, be friends with people, but certain times of day or certain things they want to go do, you set the expectation, like, that's not me, or that's not what I'm finna get into. I don't believe in that. So I'm gonna just step away from that. It's just those type of things.
So you got a set of morals, you got a set of principles, you know what I mean? Like, and some values. And then like for you, again, I'm gonna get into some of the things that I heard you say at that meeting because I still didn't forget them. But so there had to be different people in your life who've played a role in it. You've named some people, and now we're gonna get back to the question from Paji. Paji asked, can you ask him besides family, can you name a role model in the community that you looked up to? So who is somebody in the community that you grow up in that you looked up to outside of family members?
Outside of family that I looked up to, aside from Brian Arrington, who did I look up to? There's a lot of people. I can't just distinctify one person, but
I mean, we got time. If you got time, throw some names at us.
Brian Arrington.
Because we need to know these people.
Some of the bishops at the church, they were always there for me. Mr. Miller, that was my guy. Mr. Miller is my guy. Reverend Green, may he rest in peace. He's always somebody cool I can talk to. Rodney Eddy.
Okay.
My cousin Andrew Grigley out there in Illinois. They always looked out for me real big ups. Him and all his homies anytime they came up. But the dynamics as far as with people career wise stuff they had, it never at the time, you don't know what anybody don't know what's going on with anything. So you just respect people who is respected in the community, always take care of themselves and take care of the people around them. So that was always the people I looked up to and respected myself personally.
Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you.
They might be thinking about somebody particular, but I don't know who they thinking about.
Listen, so I don't think anybody asking for nobody particular and specific, but like, and I'm glad like that. You know, you're 22 years old, and I'm glad that this question was asked because now, like, when that question is asked, and what I think of is there are people who are in the community who should have had impact on your life, and I'm saying us, me, myself, us as black men who should have had some type of impact or some type of impression on your life to say, listen, young man, this is what you know. I'm proud of you. This is what you should be doing, or this is what you shouldn't be doing. So, like, I feel like what you having to maybe that's the direction he was going or not. But I feel like for you to have like such a vague answer, like I really would like to know, like, as far as when you think of like a black man that should be your role model, because it sounds like a lot of the people outside of family members who have played a role in your life were, you know, people from prep. You know what I mean? And I've never went to prep, but I'm assuming it's not a lot of black faces now.
Yeah, it was like in my class, it was like 12, 13 of us, and like 6 or 7 of us kind of stuck together.
Right. So like when it comes to stuff like that, like what do you think, like, or what would you have appreciated more from us as black men in the community to make you feel more comfortable? And I'm not saying you're uncomfortable or anything, but to make you feel more comfortable or to make you feel or seem or believe that, you know what, I can do this, I can crash my head, but did not this way because he didn't. And like, what do you think we as black men need to be doing in this community?
So I think it's more so a little bit of a pride thing in the whole. I noticed, I don't want nobody else to notice. Whereas just at that point, you should just look at it like free game. Granted, everybody's not going to take the same route as you. They may try like you, but they're not you, so it might not go that route. So, before I actually had an appreciation for all the older black men in the community, I had a disappreciation for them. Anytime I had issues, always the older guys. They always gave me a hard time because they weren't real welcoming. They just always were arrogant. They always just looked at us like y'all the youngins and all this. Like they would try and talk down to us, and I ain't never been a fan of nobody talking down to me. So that was one of the big issues. But now it seemed like people are starting to open up more. And I feel like it's the women that set the example because they bringing all the other women up. So the dudes are doing it a little bit more. But I just wish the way people looked out for me, like some of my friends, people I know, distant people, I wish they had the same people I had in their lives. Because maybe things would have turned out a little different.
Okay. But like, again, I'm staying at this question and I ain't letting it go because, like, you know, even like some of the things, it's like some of the things that you ain't saying is like some of the things that I want to hear you say.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm 36 years old, you know what I mean? And you're 22 years old. So there's a 14-year age difference.
Right.
You know what I mean? We grew up in the same city. Now, I'm pretty sure some of the problems that I had in my life within this city are some similar problems that you had in your life within this city. You know what I mean? And we can dive into problems if you want to, or we don't have to.
It's up to you.
As far as like
free fall questions, whatever.
What I'm saying is like, as far as like having, because your dad, like your dad working that phone for 22 years and playing a role in life and talking to you every single day. Like, I can only imagine the type of man that he is or the type of man that he would be standing out here in these streets, like having your back.
Oh yeah.
So like, even like, because I feel like us as black men, outside of being fathers and role models to our own children, we also need to be fathers and role models to some other children. So like, what are some things that you would have liked to actually see in your physical life or in your physical appearance that you feel like us as black men need to represent in order for us to make men as good as you and better?
So for me, I think it would really be like how people say, like, my brother's keeper. Like, I look out for my brother's kids and my brother, like my godson or however it go. I feel like people need to kind of stand on that. A lot of people say a lot of things. They'll be like, oh, I care about you. I do this. I do that. It's really just come down to the follow-up. Consistently having those conversations. That's why me and my uncles have such a great relationship. My uncle hasn't lived here, but we have like a great relationship. We talk all the time, just that making that presence feel known and like you care about the kids in the community. There'd be a couple old heads. They'd be in the neighborhood. They always chop it up with us. It was never anything funny, but I think that's really what it would be like, just doing a follow-up. Like, don't just come when somebody's performing well in a game. Come when they having the worst game of their life. Like, you don't bash them, just trying to uplift them, like stuff like that. Or like somebody, man, they just got knocked down on their feet. They lost a job or something. Or like, they're having hard times at school. You don't got to be that person, the next 50th person to bash them to the ground.
Right.
Just really just uplift them. People just want that support. That's all it is.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you there too. And I definitely feel like, and I'm working as hard as I can to be more of a presence, but I agree with you there too. I feel like as far as me as a young man, like, it was a lot of people who played a major role in my life, in my development as a man, who impacted me to kind of mold me. But it was also a lot of people who were in my presence, in my space, who didn't benefit my life whatsoever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then for that to carry on from my generation onto your generation, and for you to be able to speak about it, like that's why I asked you that question. And then that's why I was like saying, like, as far as like us making our own Black history, is because like some of our history isn't as great as some of the stories that they tell us.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
A lot of us glorify, you know, some of the great Black leaders who've done great things in other places, while we lack Black leaders in our own city. You know, we lack
That's true.
Black leaders in our community. And I'm not saying that there aren't some people doing some amazing work, but what I'm saying is there are people who we see on a regular basis and spend time with on a regular basis and see every single day who aren't doing anything to benefit the world. And then there are some people who are working hard to
Yeah.
benefit the world, and we're not acknowledging them or showing them any love, when like we need to start creating our own Black history. So to see like you be on the path that you're on, and to see that, like, you know, you kind of talk, and I didn't want to dive too much into your father's story, but to see that he still played a role in your life, you know what I mean? And then you did like say big ups to my mom, and I ain't heard, like, I'm a mama's man, I'm a mama's boy, but I'm a mama's man. But like,
for sure. I had to make sure I'm
a
a mama's boy. I heard everybody know that. That was the joke.
We definitely need to hear like what mom's got going on, and what like when you say you bigging up your mom's, like, who is mom?
So Cassandra Howard, everybody know my mama.
Absolutely, but I need to know. I know her name. We know her name. We know her face. Everybody know, but I want to know who your mom is from your heart to our ears. So, like, who is your mom to you?
Oh, that's like my sidekick. Like that's my other. I got like 4 or 5 right hands. She one of my right hands for sure. Like she always had my back. Like that's why I learned to right, wrong, or indifferent. When you love somebody, you just support them through it all. You ain't got to support the decisions they make, but you loving and support them just like anybody else. So my mama she always had my back. But if I was going wrong, she addressed it. Like she ain't never ease up on me. When she felt like I was starting to do a little too much or getting a little out of hand, she was right there every day, 24/7. She the reason why I went to prep. Like the whole prep thing is weird because I did not want to go there. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't want to go there. Like that first year or two was rough for me. Like, and
where did you want to go?
Central.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to be at Central or Collegian, but she ain't think I was smart enough for Collegian. She ain't think I was gonna pay attention at Collegian. That's what it really was. Smart enough and pay attention. But Central's really wanted to go, but she felt like the opportunity. Her and a couple of my teachers at this charter school I went to, they felt like the opportunity was better at prep. So she stayed on me for that, and she stayed on me throughout life. So
mom made an executive decision, and from some of the things that you're saying that would benefit. But again, we got to kind of slow that down and like, you know, like again, you see, my mom is my rock and all of that. Like it's Black History Month. You know, your mom's a Black woman. Like I need to know a little bit more. Like in as far as like, because I feel like that too. Like, and I'll speak on mine a little bit. You know what I mean? Like us as Black men, like our mothers play a major role in it. Like you said, right, wrong, or indifferent. Like it's women who moms do stuff, and like it's women who sons do stuff, and they're like, no, my baby, that's my baby, that's my baby. But then some of us also have some moms who like are behind us and support every single thing that we do, and keep us in order and keep us in line and continue to cheer and root for us and play major role in our lives. Like, and my mom is like the most important person in my life to me. Like I tell people all the time. Some people don't like it, but I tell people all the time because she always got my back. Like, you know what I mean? And,
for sure.
You know, she always like she stay on me. She support me. She helped me. She uplift me. And like even through a kid, like the hustle and drive and all of that, she's seen in me. So like as far as your mom and you like y'all. Like growing up, especially with you being an only child, like y'all had to be like, take me through a little bit of the journey of like your mom and your relationship with her coming up and why y'all are so tight up into like, and she put it on there. So you know what I mean, everybody knows that she's a cancer survivor, and she put it how he was there for my cancer journey. She made the comment. I wasn't going to.
That's actually what I was going when we got into it, I was going to address it.
Yeah, but, man, I need to know, man. Like your mom seemed like a strong and amazing woman, and I feel like you shortchanging it right now.
Oh, I know. Now I could talk about my mom. I could write a book about 4 books about my mama and the different things we went through. But my mom growing up, it's weird. I felt like my grandmother raised me for a certain period of time until she passed. I always looked at my mom kind of like a sister. Mm-hmm. And the older I got, I feel like we still got that relationship. Like she, my mother, I understand that respect level, but at the same time, she feels like a big sister to me. That's how we got that relationship. But she been through a lot. I mean, raising a child by her own, figuring it out. Because she human too. Like she was younger, so she was still doing what she wanted to do and live her life the same way she wanted to. But she always made sure we ain't never need for nothing, never wanted for nothing. I always made sure I looked at how I needed to. So I can't never say I went without. But yeah, cancer survivor. She done been through her fair share of things. Like she lost her dad when she was a senior in high school from a heart attack. So just dealing with that and those type of things, like not growing up without your dad through the later parts of your life is a little harder than losing your mom when my mom was like in her 30s, I think. Yeah, somewhere around her 30s when my grandma passed. So just a lot of those different things. And she's always been a rock in my family. Like people might not say it, but everybody calls on her when they need her in the family, in the community. Like she's a flamboyant person. Everybody love being around her. Mm-hmm. I wish she would do more, to be real with you. Like on paper, because I think both of us, that's the problem. We don't do enough on paper. Like, people call when they need help. It'll be people calling like they got eviction notices, like little situations like that, or like they ain't got this or that for their kids and stuff, and they call my mom to help figure out a way. Like, none of this stuff is her job title. None of this. She doesn't have to do this. She just does this stuff out the kindness of her heart. And sometimes I get a little mad because I feel like people take advantage of that, but she don't care. She'll still do what she needs to.
Okay. Okay. So then, like, yeah, let's get into that. You said this is not the first time I've heard you say put it on paper. So it sounds to me like you've learned a lot over your years of living. So when you keep saying put it on paper, what does that mean?
That should be my motto. Put it on paper.
Listen, man, you might have said it too many times. Somebody might try to take it from you. But when you say that, what do you mean? Like, you must got some business or some stuff going on.
So again, learning through trial by fire. If you're not getting something, people can tell you they're gonna do X, Y, and Z. If you ain't got it written on paper to where they can back it up, they won't do it. And then even putting it on paper is just building that resume so people can believe in you. So when you take that next step, like, I can say my mom did all of these things, unless that other person or that other party is addressing it or saying it too. I'm biased because that's my mother.
Right.
But at least putting it on paper, people can see it, they can believe it. They're gonna believe it just off of who people know, or like word of mouth. But if you put it on paper, you can Google it, look it up. Like, they did X, Y, and Z. They did this for the community. They did this and that. But when you just say it turned into like street legend, Like, it's just street legend, street folklore and stuff like that. Like, oh, he did this, oh, that person did that. But when you put it on paper, it's factual. You can Google it, you can look it up, and it's real. So I'm real big on people, starting to get into the habit of putting yourself at that pedestal and you're holding yourself to that level because you deserve it.
Now that you say all of this, I have to listen. You're 22.
Yeah.
22. Like, you sit here and you talking to me like a grown man. I'm loving this conversation, right? Because I've had conversations with different people, and I believe, like, I was telling you, like, before we cut the cameras on, we was having our little conversation. I'm saying, like, when you have a certain level of intellect, it's certain people that you can't have certain conversations with.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they go south, and either you get frustrated, they get frustrated. Somebody feel like their intelligence being insulted. But, like, pretty much, I'm gonna ask you your take on these two words. Like, what's your take on the word humble?
Humble. My take on the word humble is, I don't know. I mean, when you first say the word humble, I think you look at the word as like, okay, somebody that's not bragging and things like that. You did X, Y, and Z. You shouted out to the world, like, when you may not have to or may not need to. Like, when you're already getting your flowers, like, you don't have to take that next step. It turns into arrogance once you get to a certain level. So, but at the same time, I think people take you talking about what you do and embracing yourself or what you got going on as being arrogant, when you might just be being humble about it. It's not like you being flashy or trying to put it in everybody's face. You're just trying to talk about what you got going on. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, but it comes a time when the proof is in the pudding. You see it through the action. Like, I can say I'm the realest person on earth, but that don't matter if I'm not doing the realest thing on earth or doing what I need to. So it's really just the proof in the pudding. Like, you ain't got to speak for when everybody else will. Like,
okay. Yeah. Okay. So then, and the reason why I asked you that question, because a lot of people say, oh, these people, you're supposed to be humble and all of that. So then I always pose people with the question of, like, do you know how to do you understand the difference from being humble and the practice of humility?
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, yeah. If you take it to that point, the practice of humility is basically saying, yeah, you got this going on, but at the same time, it can always go left or it always can go right. So, appreciate what you got going on. At least that's how I look at it.
Okay.
Because you never know, like, life can change in an instant. Like, I can leave out of here, lose my job, lose it all. Like, and I'm over here, I could be over here bragging about it and everything else. Or that's what people might portray it as. So.
Right. Okay. So see, like, I look at that two different ways. You know what I mean? So, like, because when it comes to humble or being humble, like, and a lot of people, they don't like when I say this, but, like, I'm not a humble person at all. And the reason why I say this is because, like, the things that I have and the things that I get, like, are not coming from luck. And I understand the practice of humility.
Yeah.
And when I say I understand the practice of humility, me practicing humility is waking up every single day and getting to it and grinding when I want to quit, or when I know the average person would quit, but understanding what I'm going to get. And when I go,
I gotta cut you off though, because I feel like you're still practicing. It ain't like when you get up, aside from trying to inspire people, it's not like you getting up within. I feel like it comes down to the intention too. It's not like you getting up every day like, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm gonna let everybody know this is what I'm doing. They gonna feel it. They gonna know they ain't doing this, so they ain't as good as me. It's not like you getting out into it with that intention. You trying to lead by that example and show people what's possible. It ain't like you still doing it in a humble manner. It's not like you getting on there listen, I got something better than you.
So check this out, right? So, and that's what I'm saying to you. So you understand one aspect, but I feel like when somebody tells me to be humble, they're telling me to bow down, or I shouldn't be proud of it because I can lose it or I can take it. But if I'm working and I'm getting up every single day and I'm being consistent and I finally get the prize and I show you the prize that I got, and
you deserve it.
Right. But you don't like it and you tell me to be humble. It's like, why do I got to be humble after I worked hard?
I feel like that sound like sometimes when people say that stuff, though, they come across like real envious and stuff too. Sometimes you got to watch out. sometimes you be happy about what you got going on in life. When I got the job at the bank, some people was like, it wasn't really like congratulations. They was like, why do you got that job, or how did you get that? I'm like, I applied. Like, did you apply? Like, what do you mean? So,
and you worked for it, right?
Yeah.
Right. So then going back to that meeting, you said some things about like you wanting to have more people involved and getting more active in like elevating themselves as young people. So what at the age of 22, like, why do you think it's important for more people your age to be doing things like you?
So for me, again, I put this back down to being like, I can't keep calling it a city kid. I got to find something else to call it. But I don't like when people look down on certain parts of the community or certain aspects. I've dealt with a lot of people and heard a lot of conversations when they talk down on certain people coming from certain backgrounds. And like, when they talk to me, they don't think I came from all of these backgrounds and dealt with all of this stuff that they trying to say is like, you'll never be a good person dealing with all of that, when I'm one of those people. So I just feel like just giving people that up and up, because you already running a race you might be behind, and just putting them on an even playing field as best as you can. I feel like that can help everybody. That's why I'm real big on what I'm trying to do personally in my own free time is I'm trying to create something. I've been writing it down and notating it to try and make it look as nice as possible before I present it. But a way for like the local businesses and things like that, big and small, can get into the habit of going to the different high schools, following up with them, setting up some type of step up program. I don't know what else to call it, but a step up program where you do X, Y, and Z, you get a mentor. Even if you don't get the mentor, you might get the job in this. Like, you can take that course, because everybody just gonna go off of what they see on TV. So that's why I'm real big on that, because I hate when people down talk to younger guys. I'm one of the younger guys. I just happen to be sitting next to you at that time in life.
So why is it important? Okay, so, and I was having a conversation with a coworker earlier when we was going back and forth about this. You made it out, right? As far as where you at so far, and as far as like, why is it important for you to pull other people out with you?
I made it out.
I mean, to a certain extent, if you sitting in the room so where they dissing you're pretty much your friends, you have access to that room. Like, it's only up. You can only ruin it at this point.
That's true.
So that's how, when I say you made it out, that's what I mean when I say you made it out, because I've been amongst those people as well.
I feel some days I don't feel like. Some days I feel like I need to work harder. But like you said, like, it'd be nice to get those people in there. And for me, I feel like the biggest thing is when I talk to like my little cousins, I look at them as like my little brothers. Like, I love them to death. When I talk to them, even random people, like, it was some kids I went to school with, they were like, hey, I looked up to you. Like, you're always good to me. Like, you always set this example. You didn't do what everybody else did. You tried something different. I'm just working hard. That's how I look at it. But when they tell me that they paying attention, or they like what I'm doing, or they want to take that route because I did it, or they like how I handled a certain situation, it made me start to take it a little more serious and be like, if I'm doing this the right way, this would be something I can connect them with. Because a lot of my cousins, a lot of people I know, like some people I know is way smarter than me, way more salesy than me and stuff like that, but they just didn't have the opportunities I had. So just trying to get them in a position to where they can get those opportunities. I like to see everybody eat, so it ain't nothing against me.
And then what's interesting also is to hear you say is like, I haven't made it out. For you to look at it that in the manner that you do, and then for you to still be willing to like leave a door open for other people, because it's like, okay, if you didn't make it out and you got yourself in a position or opportunity where you can see the potential and what that world is going to look like for you, like, and I'm the exact same way, so I don't want you to feel like I'm challenging you when I'm asking these questions. You know what I mean? It's probably a lot of things that you don't know about me, so there's certain questions and things that I'm saying, but like, why would you leave the door open when you ain't even all the way in yet?
So because it does nothing to me. Like, there's no negative other than them not showing up, but there's no negative impact for me trying at least to bring somebody else with me. There's nothing that hurts me by me trying to help somebody else out. Like, if anything, that just benefits you. There's like, when people be hating or envious to other people, like, you taking time out your day to be an evil or nasty person, whereas being a good person, there's nothing extra to it. Like, I might not even be doing it out the kindness of my heart. I could be just doing it because I feel like you have the qualities, you have the skill set, you should be this person that they're looking for. Like, because it never hurts. You never know what you can be doing for that person. You can be changing that person's life.
Wow. At 22, that's very interesting to hear you say that at the age of 22, because, like you said, to see it at 22, for me to see it at 36, and for our fathers to probably have seen it too, it's just like people had that mentality to where, like, I got this idea, I'm going to take it, I'm going to run with it, I ain't telling nobody, and I ain't sharing it. And I believe us as Black people, it starts our growth. You know what I mean? And to hear you at such a young age, like, have a mind that's so open, and then for you to even be willing and interested to say, like, I want to get into these high schools and teach these kids this information, like, why do you think it's important for kids younger than you to know this information outside of because nobody taught it to you and because other people were down on them?
So because, like, when you get out here in the real world, like, there's no anybody gonna help you out. Anybody gonna tell you should look this up. You should just know this. You come into the bank, you ask, if I'm a person that's just doing my job, I might not ask you, do you understand interest rates and everything like that? These are the things you have to deal with in life. You may not like it or love it, but you need to understand it. That's just how the world works. And then everybody at home don't got somebody. Like my dad's been incarcerated my whole life. So it'd be male conversations like I would have to have with like my sensei, my uncles, however it go, or my dad if I talk to him, where people ain't got that at home. So being able to bring it to the school to where it's already a safe haven for majority of the kids that go there. Like some people go there because they have nowhere else to go. That's like the best part of their day. So giving them that opportunity and seeing those different things, because you never know what you might spark in their heart or idea like, oh, I can take this route or I can try this out. I might enjoy this, or this might be my stepping stone into the next part of my life for a better opportunity. So I feel like everybody needs that opportunity and that chance. And prep really showed me that because they're real big on brotherhood and bringing each other up. So a lot of that, I took that with me too, how they bring each other up and stuff. I want to do the exact same thing for my community and everybody else.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, man, you talking over there for real, man. Like, no, for real. Like, you really truly don't understand. And again, like, and I tell you a little bit about myself, but like to hear you say some of the things that you're saying at the age that you're saying and that.
You doing that for me just about even putting me on here. Like, think about it, like,
man,
and people ain't thinking about me when they do certain things at certain
but
events.
here's the thing, though. Check it. Even to have the heart to want to do it, and then even to have like the first of all, because something like that is going to take some heart, it's going to take some courage, and it's going to take a lot of care. Because like throughout my life, like I've learned, like you're going to run into a lot of roadblocks thinking that way, and you seem so excited about it. It's like it's good to see somebody your age had this kind of fire. And what's unfortunate about it is like it's not a lot of grown. When I say grown men, it's not a lot of older men that's talking and thinking like you. And for somehow, some way, for this stuff to be instilled in you, like it makes me feel so good to hear you talk like this, especially when you got a purpose and a reason behind it. And then you still trying to care for somebody else's kids when these kids is about the same age as you. For real. Like you talking better than some of these kids' fathers for real, as far as like what you want to do. So then, even when you say like pulling these businesses together and getting involved in the high school, like what when as you see this going, like what do you think that would look like? So let's say if I were to say, boom, all right, all this is good, we got all the partners in the play, we starting tomorrow. Let's say in 5 years, what would you how did you think that would impact our city?
How that would impact our city? Excuse me, but so not even
you gonna get a 9th grade class and then a new 8th grade class coming in to at least do a full course of your program.
So for me, looking into that would be a decrease on a lot of the different behavioral issues that they have going on. Some of these things because people just don't have an outlet or something else to do. So it would decrease on that, but it will also increase on the retention rate because there's a lot of people living in the city, but nobody wants to face the facts where you could be like, why aren't these people working? Because nobody wants to work a 9 to 5 for $7.25. You cannot live off that. Whereas jobs in places here that'll hire these people if they just had the opportunity to see like, oh, it's people at this school or in this community that can handle this, so they have the skills and the assets we're looking for. So in my mind, in the perfect world, they'll be able to take this program or do the routine in the course, meet the different jobs and see the different opportunities they have in front of them. Take those opportunities because a lot of people don't want to leave the city. That's just more in-house growth because that might be a stepping stone for them starting a business, growing it, or being loyal to a company. Some people, their real big thing is loyalty. Like I stayed at Best Buy for like 4 or 5 years. You'd have thought I was going to own that Best Buy as long as I stayed there at my age. But it's just that's what it would look like for me is just that retention rate being there. And then because that shows that like a lot of these people instead of just saying that they actually got to stand on that. Like we care about the community. We care what's going on. You can throw a little fundraiser, give a couple of shirts. That's easy. But actually hiring the people in the city is really where it's going to make that difference.
Absolutely. So then, I mean, again, so 5 years, we get these kids going through this program, we get these adults and these businesses on board. Like, how impactful do you see this idea of yours? Maybe we'll call it idea. This plan of yours. How impactful is it going to be for our community as us as Black people?
So already I see what everybody's doing, whether it be like Crenshaw, what he has going on, what is real estate, and then my sensei has what's going on. You close your eyes and look at that, just think about a bunch of those. Like you got like 10 Crenshaws or another 3 or 4 martial arts academies and stuff like that. Or even just being able to take that next step professionally, because you never know what might come up out of that. So looking at that, it would just be something that would really be, it would put us in a better limelight than sometimes some people would try and put us in, which I never look at it like that because I'm one of us. So I look at it like we at the same level. I'm at this level that represents all of us. When we're doing good, it represents the majority, not the few people who do what they do.
Exactly.
So I feel like that'd just motivate everybody else there, like whether they look like us or want to be like, emulate us, however it go. They can do it. I can definitely do it. Whether it be motivational or envy, is still gonna motivate them to want to do something better in their life. So it'll just spark that.
Yo, this is crazy. Like, how many people do you know that you talk to on a regular basis that shares these same ideas that you have right now?
My cousin Jamil, me and him, we would have these conversations all the time. A couple of my cousins, a couple of my friends, because some people like they genuinely care. Like a lot of stuff we can get, like, or even going places. We had experiences like you just not want to dealing with the certain stuff we dealt with growing up. Like, so just trying to give people better opportunities so they don't have to run into those type of situations is like a real big thing for us.
So now I'm gonna ask you, like, why do you think that type of stuff isn't happening right now in the city of Erie? Especially what you saying, like you naming some people, and I can probably throw 10 names on top of the names that you.
So, yeah, you could. Yeah.
Why do you think that that's not happening around here?
So I learned to look at it from a different perspective. I used to look at it as like they're not trying or X, Y, and Z, but I look at it like now, like some people have been burnt so bad, they've been scarred to the point where they don't want to try again. They might have tried to work with a couple people, might have burnt them, put them in a bad position. Because people, at the end of the day, nobody wants to lose what they worked hard to get.
Right.
But you can't be always afraid, like a one bad apple. Like you're not gonna keep getting bad apples. You're gonna change somebody's life. So I feel like people should continue to try. But if I look at it from a systematic issue, like it's the government. Well, not like that, that hard on it. But there's a lot of different twists and turns. You got to have enough patience and diligence and want to get through them to make it to that next step. And then you can reach back out. But some people, I think it's their own pride and ego in the way as far as want to be able to reach out and do for other people when you don't have to be like that. We ain't got nothing to take from you. You already got your chair at the table. Like, that's yours.
Listen, wow, that's crazy, man. So then, like, when you say that, it sounds to me like, you know, when people are dealing with certain things, like that kind of sounds like trauma. You know, some people have been through some situations that's very traumatic.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a huge advocate for mental health, and I always do mental health checks on other people. So I want to ask you, like, as you know, as a man younger than me, I'm not gonna call you a young man. I'm gonna make sure we're gonna put the man first. You know, as a man younger than me, you know what I mean. What's your take on mental health, and like, you know, how do you indulge in that subject?
So I'm more so a bigger advocate. I feel like everybody should have somebody they can be able to talk to, or like a safe haven, whether it be professionally. The misconception as far as going to therapy, counseling, and being weak is very ignorant. I don't like how people look at it like that, because you never know. You talking to somebody might change their whole life, or talk them out of a bad situation, or have somebody that they can come to professionally or not. Some people don't have the resources to where they feel like they can go to somebody professionally, which you can. You just have to look for it. But I dealt with like a lot of death in my life. So throughout all of these different deaths and stuff, it does start to take a toll on you. I think that's why the last couple of years of my life, it seemed like I've been progressing, but it ain't been as fast as it usually go for me. But that stuff does take a toll on you mentally. Just having somebody to talk to and knowing that you're human, it ain't nothing wrong with it, is a real big thing for me. That's why I get irritated when people be like, and I don't know if it's just our community or what, when sometimes people be like, if somebody commits suicide or if they have mental health issues, it's a stigmatism behind them, or like they're going to hell or all this crazy stuff. Like, you never know what that person was dealing with on a day-to-day basis. You wasn't in their mind. You don't know if it was real things going on, if they had like legitimate voices in their head where they just didn't know or wasn't diagnosed because somebody never did. So I'm real big on, if you need the help, seek the help.
Hey, yo, this is crazy, man. Like, wow, like this is crazy for like I said again. It's grown men that I know that I couldn't have this conversation with, and it come off the way that you coming off as far as like the subjects and all the different topics that you hit. So like now I'm about to just dive right into the whole like black. So when you think of Black History Month, and I know a lot of people outside of like, I don't even want to take too much time and think, oh, we need more than 28 days or not. But I just thinking of being acknowledged as Black people for a month, a period of time. Like, what's your take on the month of Black? Like, what does Black History Month mean to you?
So for me, Black History Month, when I close my eyes, I sit back and think about I had two African American principals, Mrs. Harper, I think. Miss Harper, Miss McWilliams. I had Miss McWilliams, and then I had Mr. Harper, which was my the next one up after she retired. They're both African American teachers. When I look at Black History Month, I look at the people who are trying to do more for the community. I don't look at it as, because sometimes people just take a look at the acolytes and be like, that's how you rank somebody that deserves to be recognized during Black History Month. Black History Month is just you sticking together. Like, it goes past a month. A month is just for us to recognize certain things that people might have done that might not have been done before. But when it's really Black History Month 365, is Black History Day every 365. You can learn something about somebody you never knew. You never know what they've been through. So kind of exemplifying that, touching on that a little bit more. I think it's a good month to recognize the people that really helped you, lift you up, or motivated you to get to where you want to be. So for me, I think I'm gonna try and do a little more. Even it's the Truth Clothing. Okay. He over at Liberty Plaza. Shatiria's husband. He can't hold it against me because his name leaves me right now. But I even got his shirt on. Like, I'm just trying to support whoever I can. Like, just supporting a Black-owned business, or just doing a little bit more than you usually would be nice.
Right.
That's all. Because they deserve it, just like anybody else. Other communities do it. They don't get no bash, no complaints, everything else. So it shouldn't be no different with us. And we shouldn't just look at it like it's just a month and then we'll stop. We just do it for life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like, so then when you think like, all right, so what should we be teaching our kids during Black History Month? Like again, I know you say it's 365, but during Black History Month, like how should we be? Because this is what I will say. Like again, everybody says it. It's it's very cliche, but St. Patrick's Day we go hard.
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo we go hard. Halloween we go hard. We get month we go hard. So like, if you were to like, far as the kids, what do you think in the city of Erie, Pennsylvania, we need to be specifically teaching our kids about Black History Month?
For us, I think once we get past all this self-hate, there's a lot of stigmas that everybody keeps passing on to the next generation. Whether it be like, oh, I don't like the whole thing of if somebody does something wrong in Black businesses, you shouldn't go back. Like, you go to another establishment, they make your order wrong, you back there in like 4 hours. Like, there shouldn't be anything like that. And I think those are the type of self-hate things we need to stop, because you get more hate than you do love. So just doing on the support aspect and teaching your kids, like, you don't have to look at it as like just a Black-owned establishment. This is still an establishment you can come to any time of the day, just knowing that it's okay. It's other things that people are doing out here outside of what's on TV, which even that stuff that gets recognized on TV is great. I'll never take that away from them, but it's other stuff out here on a day-to-day basis people are doing that should be recognized as well. Again, like, you got your guidance counselor, a probation officer. You just want the people to look like you, because when you go in a room, you want to see there's more of you than other just you. So
absolutely, man. Absolutely. And that's what I think. Like, when I think about it, like I was saying, I went live twice already about it, but I feel like Black, and I said it earlier, like, we need to, when I think of Black history, in my opinion, I don't push my opinion on nobody else, but like, I feel like we need to be creating our own history to where like the people who are close and around us, who remember us and who want to acknowledge us and who want to like, represent us. But then at the same time, like you said, when it comes to that self-hate thing, like a lot of us aren't okay with ourselves to even be able to be somebody that's recognizable or somebody that's acknowledgeable. And I think it all starts within ourselves, because like, I feel good when I look in the mirror. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I don't mean that on like a physical appearance take, but like, I've been through some things in my life to where, I just looked in the mirror to do what I needed to do. And you know what I mean? It wasn't like, I feel my heart smile now. And like, I feel like with me doing some of the things that I'm doing, I'm creating an opportunity to make some history and leave an impact on my community. And I want every single person who lives here, I mean, Black, whatever color you are, but like at this point, this month, like, look out for all of us and leave create some type of something to where it's going to impact anybody coming after you, and you create some type of history. And from the things that you're saying and the things that you want to do, like, I look at you as like, you are Black present and Black future, and you will be Black history. You know what I mean?
That's the goal.
I don't exactly. That's what you're doing. Like, and I don't want to take no credit away from anybody who laid the path for us. Like, we all know who laid those paths for us. We celebrate some of the same people every year around this time. But I think we need to make it more intimate. We need to make it more personal. We need to bring it closer back home to us, so we can start really acknowledging and recognizing real people. You know what I mean? Somebody who you can give a hug to, like, you know what, auntie, you Black history. You know what, bro, you Black. Like, I remember the time when you blase blah, and I love you for that. And anything you want, need.
You just recognize that, and that make their life. They make their day. They tell everybody in their little circle of people that they know, like, I just got recognized for this, because they might not get recognized a lot. They might not get that same love.
And that's what I feel like, and that's why I created this show. You know what I mean? As far as when it came to like having different Black men on here, because a lot of people don't speak about the thing. Like, I'm big on social media. Like, I don't care who feels what about it, because I know at the end of the day, it's at least one person who's watching, that's inspired or motivated. So I feel like if more men were to talk about some of the great things or the good things that they do, it'll go a lot further for our city, and we can create our own history. And I see you know what I mean, in the background doing certain things, and I see you and hearing some of your ideas and some of your thoughts. Like, when it comes to you getting in them schools, like, I'm gonna tell you in front of you and publicly in front of you, let me know what I can do, because I have put together a plan like that. So you let me know what I can do to help you. If you need me to be a coach or a mentor or whatever you want me to do to push that, you know what I mean? You can get that going, because I strongly believe in that. And that's some things that I've been doing behind the scenes on a personal level. And then with me being able to get this job and had a representation of university behind me, I've been having access to more people and more room. So I'm also going to be shooting some stuff back and forth with you.
Appreciate
it. It's good, and it's great to hear you talk. Like I said, man, like, it's men who are older than you who cannot have this conversation and hold this conversation like you just did. And when I mean like, on a, no disrespect or no knock to nobody, like, but on an intellectual level, and for you to be 22 years old and for you to have this type of character, this caliber of conversation, it says a lot about your character. It says a lot about the people who play a role in your life. It says a lot of things about the decisions that you've made in your life. And then on top of that, just the plans that you see yourself doing, like, moving forward. Like, we've been going for like an hour, man. I can keep going. I really truly do appreciate you, like, having this conversation. So
I'm glad to be a part of it.
Like, where do you see yourself going from here?
So from here, I I think for me, because I always worked and did it too, is just once I finish out, my goal right now is just finishing out school. I should have been done, but just different things took a little longer than they should have. So just knocking that out. And then my next step is probably somewhere doing some type of corporate finance. That's the goal. Okay. And then still doing everything else. I'm never going to stop trying to reach out to wherever, even if I move, I want to reach out to wherever that community is and still trying to make my difference. If I leave from here, I still want to have some type of foot in the area because this is my city. Like people hate their city they come from. I don't know why for all that. Don't even talk about it. Then if you hate it, just don't talk about it. Like I'll never get down and be like, I hate Erie so much. I'm never coming back. Like that never makes any sense. Like you from here, all you can do is just embrace it. Either embrace it or don't talk about it. If it's that bad.
Right. So now let me ask you, because even with some of the stuff that you're doing, like it's a way for you to make some money off of that. When I say make some money off of it, I mean like when you create programs and stuff like that, and you get people, you're gonna need things to operate them. So that's definitely. So now I'm gonna ask you, like, do you have any, like outside of whatever business that you made an attempt at, like, do you have any personal like business endeavors to where you feel like I'm gonna jump into the entrepreneur world?
So for me, I got the hustle. It's just certain things sometimes it don't be my time for certain things. But for me right now, I'm actually getting back into the habit of hosting different events. And my goal is to throw one or do one every month. So the gentleman Tenaday, that's what they call him, Tenaday. He throw like different events and stuff like that. He real encouraging. Like he done brought people to the bank. Like just seeing him doing his events. He's not even from here, but his goal is to always bring something to the city. So that's real motivating. And I just want to big up one other person. Carlisa, I took her content creation class. Like she gave me game as far as on throwing events and who to connect with. And even my clothing line that's gonna come attached to it with everything else. So real big ups to them because they've been helping out and giving game anytime I ask them. So I really appreciate that. But for me, right now, just getting into the habit of giving us somewhere to throw different events with my age group, because we got this stigma behind us too. Like we rowdy, we can't all this crazy stuff. Like college kids ain't got nowhere to go. Like no shade to Big Bar because I don't need them to ban me for this, but we get tired of listening to 50 Cent and Jay-Z like, every weekend. We need somewhere better.
Right. Somebody asked, do you got any Forex experience?
Nope. I didn't mean to laugh, but no, I would tell them stay away from Forex, stay away from crypto.
That's what you would tell them?
Yeah, it's too volatile and understanding ain't all the way there. You better off learning a little bit more at the stock market or coming to see me tomorrow.
There we go.
I can put you with somebody.
If you want to learn about some money, you got to come to see him about it.
Yeah, I got a whole thing against Forex. Don't do Forex.
Your mom says you could be one of his mentors. I got to put that up there.
I knew she was.
She definitely on here. She definitely on here. But yeah, like so it was. That's crazy. That would threw me off. But when you say like, okay, so that's you got some personal plans. You know what I mean? But that's for a later date. Pretty much is what I'm hearing. But like, it's good to hear that you focus and you a goal oriented person. So like. Now, when you talk about some of the stigmas of kids your age, like how does it feel for you to be like to live with the pressures of, or maybe you don't feel pressure, but like for you to be, that you're stigmatized as a young Black man, but you're 22 years old, you work in the corporate world, and you have to hear some of these things that are being said, and you hear some of these conversations from some people who probably shouldn't be saying something. Like, what does that do for you?
So like, for me, depending on how the conversation is going, I feel a way, but I look at it like. They might not understand because it's outside looking in. So you don't know what really goes on. You're just going off of what you see on TV or what you might have heard from 4 other friends and cousins who know somebody that might be Black.
Right.
So I address them. So if somebody's saying something out of line, I address it every time. There won't be a time where I won't address it.
Whoa.
So I'm not a fan of that.
Hold on, wait, slow down. Run that back. You said I address it. How do you address it?
So you can always, anything you disagree with, you can address it respectfully. We can agree to disagree, but certain things I won't let you just come out and say if it's not factual and true. Like you can't come out and say we're the problem in the community when you don't know nothing about the community, So just reminding people, you kind of not necessarily stay in your lane, but stick to what you know. You can't speak on things you don't know. Like I would never jump on here and think I'm going to be the real estate guru when I don't know enough about it. So I only can talk about my age group and what we got going on. I can't talk about your life experiences or anybody that's in their 30s. I only can talk about what me and my people we've been through. So around my age.
Yo, this is crazy, man. You pretty much tell them you need to mind your business. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's like you can act like it's nothing wrong. And I like how I got certain coworkers like because they're genuinely curious. Like some people don't know. They be like, hey, is this how this work? Or do these things go on in your community? Or because they want to know because they don't know. Right. There's nothing wrong with asking these questions, but don't be making these accusations or even assumptions about people when you never even met these people before.
Absolutely. So again, like when we talk about Black history, man, like I said, like that's it. That's you because like when you saying some of the stuff that you're saying, I'm gonna keep like fellas, I ain't gonna say y'all, we need to step our game up, man. If I'm sitting here having this conversation with a man that's 22 years old and understands like the way the route and the path and like the direction of what it's going to take to make some changes, and he can say that he's working towards that, there's no reason that no man shouldn't. And then on top of that, for us to hear, like, I don't know how long y'all been tuning in for, but for him to say, like, his father's been incarcerated since he's 4 months old, and his father plays a major role in his life, and he talks to him every single day, and he's been guiding him, like, and for him to have the skill set that he does today, like, we doing something wrong. And I encourage all of us, again, I'm gonna keep including myself, I encourage all of us, because I got him about 14 years to, like, do better. And like literally, like, we might need it, like, you the leader, bro. Like, I done been in rooms with people, and I had to tell them that, like, listen, man, you too old, like, you in the way, like, you got to get out the way now. You got to pass the torch to me. But like, I'm telling you, if you had something going on and you brought a plan or a presentation to me, I would move right out your way, like, just from sitting here having this conversation with you. So like, I'm gonna say that to you too, like, don't let nobody get in your way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you sound like a very genuine person. You sound like you have good intentions. You sound like, you can at least lay down some footwork and get the job done. So don't let nobody get in your way. Don't let nobody misguide you or try to sell you nothing. Or, you know what I mean? Don't bite at the shiny nickel. You know what I mean? Because what I will tell you is, and this is based on my own personal experience, me having this conversation, I see a lot of myself in you, and I see you getting to a point in your life where you're going to get to a certain level in your life, especially what you have in the heart to want to stay here in Erie. Somebody or somebodies is going to want to try to use you and exploit you and take advantage of you. And like, although you have a lot of, good knowledge and a lot of good information, like, it's always going to be somebody smart.
I noticed that before sometimes.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's a lot of these dudes with a lot of money, and sometimes they think the way to get to you is money, or sometimes the way to get to you is flash, or even somebody trying to sell you or pitch you a conversation that they feel like they biting into your interest. Like, please, bro, be mindful of the people that you allow to get in you. And when I say that, I don't mean these knuckleheads out here in the street.
Right.
I mean, when you get into this corporate world, and when you get into this world to where you like, this is what I want to do for my community.
Right.
Don't allow somebody to just talk to you and sell you a plan, and now you join their team, and you know what I mean? You stand the next to them.
Yeah, you stuck on all their decisions.
Listen, what I'm telling you is, like, you have a very sharp mind. Like, I told you I'm not a humble person. Like, I have a very sharp mind. Like, you, at the age of 22, you sound like me at 36 right now. So I'm telling you, it's going to be some people who are going to be coming for you and coming after you, and they're not in a bad way,
right?
But they're going to push their agenda on you, or they're going to use your face for you, and you have some great ideas. What you need to do is find more like-minded people like you that you can collaborate with. Right. You know what I mean? You want to find, and I'm going to take back the mentor and say advocate. Like, you want to find some people who are going to advocate for you and your plans. Like, because from what you're saying, like, you don't need my guidance. You need my advocacy. You know what I mean? Like, you need me to say, well, what do I need to do? How can I do? And if you need me to be the face because I'm the age, then you write the plan and I'll go say what I got to say. And so it can be all your work. So I want to advocate for you. You know what I mean? I want to be in your corner. You got to make sure that you're putting yourself around people who intentions are pure. And like you said, you ain't got no problem checking nobody. So these people, she need to be able to be checked, and they need to also be able to check people. Yeah. They need to be open-minded to that constructive criticism that you was taught. Like, the embodiment of, like, your character and the things that you said, like, either you showed me some mess or you real deal. Oh, no, I would rather say, like, you a grown-ass man, bro.
Like, everything I said was authentic. So if anybody who watched this can fact check it if they know me. Anything I said you think wasn't true, or you know me and you feel like it ain't, or if it is, address it too. But
absolutely, man. But like, again, like, we didn't read it, ran it. And I don't want to saturate it, because now at this point, the reason why I like to keep them like an hour, like, people was telling me first, go longer.
Yeah, but it turned into
like this is like, what I want people to do is to actually look you up. Right. So, if anybody watches this or is watching this, when they get to the point, you're like, what, that was an interesting story. Like, we ain't about to have you give all your story away. Like, I appreciate, like, I'm not give you your flowers. Like, everything that you said to me stood out to me. Like, man, you were speaking to my heart. Like, I didn't know you had all this going on. Like, you are Black history, you Black present, you Black future. Like, and you are working and taking steps to be able to have an imprint on our city, man. I appreciate you for that. And I love you for that, man. And I really truly do appreciate you coming on here to have this conversation with me, because I don't think that I would have got this much from you. And like, as I'm talking to everybody who I stay in touch with, it's the people who I've interviewed, and I'm trying to build, like, and I just accepted you into the group too, like, because what I want us to do is start coming together more. And that's why I kicked it off on Black History Month. And I feel like you was perfect. Like, I don't think, like, it's going to be somebody that's going to be able to hold on to the conversation like you just held on to the conversation. That's where they keep it going. You know what I mean? So, like, I need you to know all of that, bro. And, like, I need you to acknowledge that and realize that what you have and what you have going on, like, there's a lot of people who are watching. And then after they watch this or see this, going to be a lot of people who are knowing who you are. Like, if you ever get to a point in time where you get down on yourself, like, you the man, bro.
Appreciate it.
And you need to know that, like, it's going to be days where you ain't going to feel like the man. Trust me, I'm telling you for myself. It's gonna be days you're gonna look at somebody else and feel like I ain't got like I'm telling you right now, like as long as you stick to everything that you just told me right now, like you're gonna be okay. And on top of that, like I want to be able to bounce and throw ideas off of you too. But again, I can give you your flowers all day from the stuff that I said, from the stuff I heard you say. Like I appreciate everybody played a role in your life, all the people you gave shout outs to. My question is to you, like, I mean, you said you like some controversial stuff. First, I'm gonna ask you, like, what were you expecting this experience to be like?
I don't know for me, like I watch interviews and stuff like that. Some of them go real left, some of them go real right. So you never know what to expect. So I came into it with an open mind, but I just had to, ask real quick, like, how we gonna handle this? How we gonna play? Like anybody know me, like these last couple of years I've been wearing turtlenecks and everything like that. But I kind of changed it up today because I wear them every day. Like I'm wearing button-ups and stuff all day.
I thought you were coming in a suit. I ain't gonna hold
you.
It
was gonna be a turtleneck for sure.
Swear, I was about to go home and change real quick.
See, I was gonna ask some more like that, but I was like, nah, let me put on some more comfortable.
I swear that's crazy. We was thinking, I'm like, I know I see this dude, he be suited up
every day.
Do you got any questions for me?
Nah, real big ups to you though, because this is a platform that we didn't have the opportunity. Like growing up, like you don't see this. Well, it's new too. This is all new for everybody, so we can't put all the pressure on you because you learning just like the rest of us. But I appreciate you for having me on here because people your age might want to do a podcast and feel like, oh, I'm too old, or I might not know this, I might not know that. It takes nothing to learn or ask somebody for some help or even try to lift other people up. What you telling me what people need to start doing is what you're already doing. So you is the example. So appreciate you for having me on here.
Wow, I appreciate you for saying that, man. We got people in the comment section. George Morgan III, he said, I concur. I met him several years ago. He's awesome. Your mom said, yes, it's in his DNA. She already knows. Mama
Look, she on there.
Listen, she knows she queen running around here like, that's my baby over there. Go ahead. That's what's
Mama know when I'm up. She up for life. She ain't got to worry about that.
Listen, and that's how it's supposed to be, man. But again, man, like, I really, truly do appreciate you coming on here. I appreciate this conversation. And I'm hoping you and I going to build a relationship. And, like, for the people who is tuned in who don't know who he is, like, hopefully y'all get in touch with him. If not, like y'all gonna miss out on some great conversations, some great things. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of stuff like that this dude gonna have going on. But I named it the Creanu Jennings Show on the social experiment. I have asked all the questions I need to ask. You ain't got no question for me, but there's anything like we left out or you want to say or you want to talk about, like Phil, the floor is yours.
I ain't really got nothing other than be yourself. Don't hate on nobody. Get yours. Stay up out of mine. No, I ain't really got nothing to say though. Honestly, I'm glad I'll be able to get this opportunity to do this. So thank you and Yahweh for this opportunity. But I ain't really got nothing to say, man.
Absolutely, I appreciate you. We appreciate everybody for watching. You know, we just wrapped up the first episode of season 2 of the Social Experiment.
Happy Black History Month too.
Black History Month. It's Black History. It's me and this man that is younger than me. This black man that is younger than me in here. We done opened up the season. We done kicked it off. And again, like I was saying, like I got a bunch of different things in store, and we want to take it to the next level. It's gonna be more than just conversations about people's history. Like we're gonna be dropping some information. Like
got my support too.
Where I'm doing some seminars, and we're gonna be doing some educational clips, and I'll be reaching out to different people. You know what I mean? And we're gonna have conversations because it's a lot of people with a lot of great knowledge and a lot of great information, and we need that to be shared amongst our community. So it's not just gonna be personal conversation. I'm gonna have some people on here who. You know what I mean? We're gonna have some gems to drop. It's gonna be people taking notes and stuff like that. So I mean, even if you feel like you got some gems to drop and you got a little PowerPoint or a presentation, you feel like the people in our community need to have, and you want a platform to put it out, We're gonna put it out, man. If we gotta turn it like the Earn Your Leisure guys, like shout out to them, but
they got it right because they started off the same way, just them two just doing it here and there. And now they do.
We gotta do
everything.
That right here in Erie with our own people. We gotta start mixing and matching our ideas. Like we're gonna do it right here at home. Like I'm not trying to turn this into a global thing before I get my people together and get my people right. So I want people to be reaching out. You know what I mean? We're going to have conversations on the show. We're going to do our seminars. I might have to get on the road with the camera, give me a little camera crew or something. But again, like I said, I can go on and on. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We got some comments. Everybody said they agree with the stuff that we have going on. So we're going to call it a good night.
Yeah, make sure nobody fact check us.
Listen, man, whatever. But y'all make sure y'all like the channel, subscribe to the channel. We got some more heat coming. Just stay tuned. Appreciate it. Everybody have a good night.
Word.